They win the NFC South.
What's good, everybody? Let's talk some Tampa sports. As we know, after the Buccaneers beat the Raiders on Sunday, they have officially taken the lead in the NFC South. It's been a long time coming. 4 straight losses for the Atlanta Falcons, 3 straight wins for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's all it took. I mean, there are just 4 games remaining in the NFL season. I can't believe that. It feels weird saying that coming out of my mouth. It's like, where did it go? Where did it go? But let's look at the state of the NFC South. Who the Bucs play? What are their 4 remaining games? Who do the Falcons play? What are their 4 remaining games? Because we know the Falcons obviously do have the tiebreaker, beating the Bucs twice. So how it stands right now with the Bucs being 7-6 and the Atlanta Falcons being 6-7, the Bucs having 1 game over them, it has to stay that way. It cannot be a tie because the Buccaneers would not be in the playoffs unless some miracle happens with the wildcard race. Quick look at the NFC South standings. Obviously the Buccaneers at 7-6, Falcons 1 game behind, and then the New Orleans Saints 2 games behind. The Bucs are easily the better team. I do not know to this day how we lost to the Falcons twice. You look at the net points, the Bucs are at 54. The Falcons are at negative 55. Usually that's not a sign of a very good football team. I mean, the Chicago Bears right here are negative 24. I don't get it. Even the Saints are negative 2. Anyways, here's the playoff picture. Lions obviously clinched. Eagles have clinched. Seahawks are leading the NFC West. And the Buccaneers are leading the NFC South, of course, like we just talked about. Here we have our playoff probabilities. Big matchup coming up in LA against a tough, physical team, loves to run the ball, plays fantastic defense, the best scoring defense in the NFL. It's going to be a tough game. Preview coming on that. But the playoff probability here is very interesting. Currently, they have the Buccaneers sitting at a 72% to make the playoffs. If they lose, it drops 10% to 62%. And if they win, it goes up 16% to 88%. That tells you how big of a game this is. If they win, they're saying you can simulate the last 3 games 9 times out of 10. The Buccaneers are making the playoffs. 8.8 times out of 10, whatever you want to call it. Go down to the Atlanta Falcons. They're at 39% right now. So you compare that to the Buccaneers 72, that's a big deal. The probability guys, the numbers guys obviously are saying this 1 game lead, they believe the Buccaneers can hold this. If the Falcons lose, which they are playing the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas on Monday Night Football, so hey, it's a primetime game that all of us Bucs fans can watch and root for this team to continue losing and have that 5th straight loss. They're putting them at 20% if they lose this game. Obviously, the Raiders are not a very good team, but the wild card I will throw in there is that with Aiden O'Connell getting injured last week against the Buccaneers, Desmond Ridder will be starting against the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, that was their starting quarterback last season, so revenge factor, they dumped him, spent $45 million a year, or maybe even more than that, on Kirk Cousins, who, in his last 4 games, 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. If I'm Desmond Ridder, I got a sick taste in my mouth, and I'm coming out there for revenge. But if the Falcons do win this game, they have them sitting at 50%. So, simulate the last 3 games. If the Falcons win, they're saying half the time they would make the playoffs. So if the Bucs win, once again, 88%. If the Falcons win, 50%. If the Bucs lose, they still have them at 62%, which is not bad. If the Falcons lose, 20%. So something I find very interesting about these numbers, though, we will see why here in a few seconds when we look at both teams' schedules. If the Falcons win, which they're expected to do, they're going to be favorites in this game according to Vegas. They're at 50%. If the Bucs lose, which they are expected to lose according to Vegas in LA, they're at 62%. So even if the Buccaneers drop this game and the Falcons win their game, they still have us at a higher percentage than the Falcons. Interesting. Let's see the remaining schedule for both teams, and you'll see why. So let's start with the Buccaneers. As we know, like I just said, Los Angeles Chargers, Week 15, 4:25 game. The only game after the bye week where the Buccaneers are playing an above 500 team. After the bye week, everyone was saying there's a possibility the Bucs can win 6 out of 7. Everyone's saying that this was the loss they were chalking up because the Chargers have been a pretty good team this year. Next is Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, which they have already announced they are not going to flex that. They're going to keep that as the Sunday Night Football game. Dallas just had a brutal loss to the Bengals. You can tell Micah Parsons was just very much not happy the way he walked off the field without shaking anyone's hand. Hey, Jason Light, let's go fishing. Anyways, then the Carolina Panthers at home. It's a tough matchup. I don't think even if the Panthers haven't won another game, when it gets to this point, this team is fighting for Dave Canales. There is no doubt about that. And then we end the year with the New Orleans Saints at home. So 2 home games to finish off the year. You look at the schedule, 3 games that the Buccaneers are going to be favorites in. And then 1, they're going to be underdogs. Now, let's go to the Atlanta Falcons and see what's going on over there. All right, Falcons schedule Week 15, like we just talked about, Monday Night Football at the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, they're expected to win. Then Week 16, home against the New York Giants. We know how bad of a team that is. They just announced today that Tommy DeVito will be the starter again. He did not look great against us, so I don't have much hopes in an upset there either. So I would chalk this up as 2 wins for the Atlanta Falcons. But then that big Week 17 game against the Washington Commanders. The Commanders have the final spot currently in the playoff picture. They're going to be fighting for the playoffs as well, just as hard as the Atlanta Falcons will be. This will be a massive game for both teams. This one is in Washington, and this is a game we need the Washington Commanders to win. Not yet, technically. We don't need them to technically win it yet, but if we lose, drop 1 game out of these 4 against whether it be, I don't know, the Chargers, or somehow the Panthers get their revenge against us. It was some bad blood after that game. The Falcons have to drop 1 game as well for us to make the playoffs. This is the one that they will be underdogs. Hey, Commanders, come on. But then sneaky. Everyone is saying the Commanders is this game that we need the Falcons to lose. Carolina's looking better, much improved. And Atlanta's on a 4-game losing streak. They're stumbling. That is a big game, final game of the season. It is in Atlanta. But I would not count the Panthers out in this one the way that they're playing. So both teams have 1 game that they'll be underdogs in and 3 games that they will be favorites. How it shapes out, let me know down in the comments. I like the Bucs' chances. Do I think they're going to win out? It's definitely possible. This will be the big one this week. If they can get past the LA Chargers, not to say that the rest of the schedule is easy, but that is the toughest opponent. That's a fact. So if they can get past this one, I really like their chances, and so does the NFL, giving them an 88% chance to making the playoffs if they win this big one on Sunday. So let me know what you guys think down below. Are the Bucs going to be able to hold on to this lead, or do you think that the Atlanta Falcons can turn things around? Once again, 4-game losing streak with a pretty soft schedule remaining. Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers. So once again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Go Bucs, and y'all have a blessed one.